All right, we're jumping in this morning. We are live on Aired Out. It is so wonderful to have you on board. And look at this, 9:01. My God, we're only a minute late.
I know. You did good this morning.
This is, what's that?
You did well this morning.
I'm so glad that Thom Lauzon is with us this morning. Thom, good morning.
Well, thanks for having me.
We are, what did Michael call it last night on Barry Beat? Minier Studios or something like that?
Yeah.
Ninja?
No, Minier.
Minion? Minier? What does that mean?
Well,
okay.
Yeah. Anyway, good morning, Thom.
Good morning. How are you?
How are you? I just look like garbage.
Like,
Man.
well, just crawled out of bed.
You know, I don't think I've ever gone this long without wearing a suit and a tie,
right.
And I don't anticipate that I'll be wearing a suit and tie anytime soon because, we're getting it done.
Yeah.
We're getting it done at all levels. You know, first and foremost to the folks who are helping their friends and their neighbors and their family. You know, the folks who are volunteering, thank you so much. Mm-hmm. Because it's, it's easy to get discouraged, obviously. And that's the hardest part for me is watching people suffer. Mm-hmm. Didn't like it in 11, didn't like it in 15, and really don't like it now. This storm is worse.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's been quite a week. We're working with the administration to try to get some relief programs up and running. But, you know, the response of the city and our congressional delegation and the administration and just everybody, friends and neighbors, yeah. I'm proud. I'm proud. And I have no doubt that we'll all be okay. Mm-hmm. You know, mm-hmm. This is going to be quite a recovery effort. But, you know, now things are coming into focus. We're getting the basements mucked out. We've got equipment ordered. You know, when you drive down Main Street, you can actually see now. For the first few days, it was like the Old West. There'd be a vehicle in front of you, and you couldn't see 10 feet in front of your vehicle. So right. This recovery effort is going to be long. It's absolutely going to take some time, but I'm just proud. I'm proud of the response. Obviously, still concerned about our businesses, our small businesses, because first and foremost, there is no free money. Mm-hmm. Other than money we raise, the only programs that are available to businesses are loans. So last night we created with the help of a lot of people, Dave Rubel at Community National Bank, May Green at Barry Area Development Corp., and Representative Jonathan Williams, I formed the Barry Community Relief Fund. Mm-hmm. We are a 501c3. We have our certificate of non-recognition pending. I filed that with the Internal Revenue Service Department of Treasury last night. So we will be raising money to provide relief, you know, try to bridge those gaps for individuals and businesses. So I just ask folks to pay attention. You know, that's the resources are going to be critical. You know, right now, as I help the city recover and help the community recover, and also sort of steer my own businesses. We had 4 buildings that were affected. It's all about efficiency. You know, like even garbage. We didn't. You couldn't get dumpsters. No. So I just said, look, stack it.
And then
stack it in enormous.
Had to close for a couple of
stack
days.
it in enormous piles. And now what we're doing is, it's garbage, so we're picking it up with an excavator, rather than I'm not going to have 5 or 6 guys out there for 8 hours loading a dumpster. Mm-hmm. I'd rather have them mucking out basements, tearing out sheetrock. So, the property. So I feel good personally about where we are. This is going to be a long, expensive recovery effort. Straight up, my out-of-pocket will exceed $1 million. Mm-hmm. And that kind of took my breath away at first, and and still does in some respects. But here's how I put it into perspective. You know, I've been blessed to do business here in Barrie for 30 years. I've worked very hard at it. I'm very good at it. I never expected to die with less than $1 million. I just didn't. So I'm really not spending my money at all. I'm spending Alex and Miranda's. So sorry, kids.
Where's my bell? Ding.
Yeah,
So,
it did not ring your bell.
You know, you got to make a joke of some things. But we are, you know, I watch our tenants. We are 100% committed to putting things back the way they were. And that's exactly what we're going to do. Because, you know, I watch the folks who occupy some of my buildings, and you know, they're doing their part. You know, they're working hard, and they are totally in, and they are totally committed. You know, Calvin down at Wilson got creamed. We had 2 feet of silt on 9 acres. That is all cleared. I mean, we have some cleanup to do, obviously, but in terms of access to the building, clearing the parking lot, we removed 600 yards of fill from that. And thanks to Eric Lauzon and Trim Schweenard in the city of Barrie, you know, we got that done. And Johnson Paving, Joe Vien's at Johnson Paving, we got that done pretty quickly. And now my
looks
tenants,
great back there.
it looks like shit, but it looks better than,
it's way better.
you know,
than it did.
for us
Yeah.
it was triage. So if a building is supposed to be sprinklered, our first order of business was restore power to the buildings. We've done that at all buildings. Second order of business was inspect. We have a lot of propane tanks. Inspect the propane tanks, make sure that those, even the propane tanks that might have gotten a little buoyant, make sure they're still serviceable and they're safe. Once we do that, we make sure that there is sprinkler protection to all of the buildings. You hear a lot of alarms going off now.
Yeah.
They're warning alarms. They're not alarms going off. Sprinkler panels, fire panels will issue warnings. So in all of my buildings right now, the ones that had elevators, the elevator controls are in the basement. Those need to be replaced. The system monitors the elevator. So in some of my buildings, my tenants are here. You know, they're hearing a beeping coming from the panel. That's not an alarm. So if you hear that and you're going into a building and you hear a beeping, it just means the system is in trouble. Yeah, that's an understatement, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, so we're, you know, and then we muck out the basements and then we pull sheets. So step by step by step, we're getting it done. And we're 10 days into this thing, and we're getting it done. Businesses are starting to reopen. The remediation, the deep cleaning and remediation at 47 North Main Street, the Cornerstone, and 59, which is a building right next door, that starts tomorrow. So we'll be doing that. 322 North Main Street, the Domino's building, very little damage, very little water in that building. I was shocked. Maybe an inch. But even an inch on the first floor, we've cut out 2 feet of sheetrock. We've removed the carpet.
Right.
And we're
Still
getting
a
it
lot
done.
of work.
So, yeah, it's...
And you got to do this. You got to do this kind of stuff quickly, because if you don't, all of it is like a big sponge. It's just absorbing the water. And
well, I mean, you know, and that's where folks are... You want to be aware of the environment. You know, obviously, if something is left, it's going to mold. And it really depends on the building. Some buildings will develop mold more quickly than others. Right. But even if a building develops mold, I mean, we can't possibly address all of our issues at once. We don't have the resources, the manpower. So there will be some buildings that, you know, there are some buildings that haven't had any remediation at all.
Right.
It's not the end of the world. I mean, you know, we got an inch of water in the sheetrock, for example, at 322. We cut up 2 feet. We didn't cut 6 inches. You know, we cut 2 feet up to make sure that and then you dry the building, and you know, we'll be okay. The buildings that won't be okay are the folks who do nothing. You know, if a building got water on the first floor and you do absolutely nothing, you just say, "Oh, I'll let Mother Nature dry it out." That's probably not that is not going to work.
It's a little overwhelming how much information is available to people. There's just so much.
There is.
FEMA's here and this and that,
Yeah.
and this grant, and this application, and oh my God,
Yeah,
Tom.
and we're gonna, and of course those have to be completed within 30 days. Listen, we're gonna work with people. We're gonna try to get. Our goal is that no one gets left behind. If you need help, our goal is to get you help. And like I said, I've already started working with the administration. We learned lessons in 11 and 15. And so I've already started working with the administration to talk about, well, how do we get quicker relief to our businesses?
Right. Because,
the remediation companies, they need 50% down. And I understand. I do. They don't look. They're a business, and they're showing up. So tomorrow I will meet them with a check at the Cornerstone, and that's the first order of business because. And even at the Cornerstone, we've done the muck out ourselves. Rich had a great crew down there. We've done as much as we can ourselves so that we can preserve the resources. I mean, number one, it saves us money, and that's a great thing. But honestly, and more importantly, we're trying to preserve the resources of the remediation. We're not spending 4 days at my place. If they're only spending 2, that's 2 days they can spend helping someone else. And mucking out basements, I've done plenty of it. Yeah. And carrying garbage, I'm living proof that it doesn't require much skill. So we're trying to use our resources and even the resources of the remediation companies just as effectively as we can.
Raylene and I were talking yesterday, and of course we all know there's a housing shortage, but there's 8 guys from ServPro that are just working in where our studio was, and they're working like hard. But they're the only place they're able to find to stay is on the top of Sugar Bush.
Yep,
and they're commuting every morning. I mean, it's.
I'm not sure. There are people,
and they're going to be here for 3 months, Tom.
This is going to be hard, JD.
Yeah.
I've always been an air traffic controller. I mean, that's how I run the businesses. We've already ordered our furnaces. I'm that far ahead. I know we have work to do in the buildings, but I'm already looking to winter. And when I assess a building, I'm looking at the building and saying, okay, what do I need to be doing to make sure that this building is fully functional come November 1st? So we have contracts. We have our furnaces ordered. We may have buildings where the sheetrock is cut out, but they have heat. So we're going to be chasing this thing as a private company. We're going to be doing work well into January, February, March. Mm-hmm. But I've assessed every building, and the question I always ask myself is, how do I make this building fully functional? It may not be pretty, but fully functional through the winter months. And we're there. I've got that flow chart worked out. But there are going to be a lot of people, either they're waiting for insurance money, or that's my big concern right now. What is our ability to get heating appliances installed? I mean, go to the north end, JD. There isn't a house down there that has a furnace that is salvageable. Mm-mm. And my biggest concern, as I look forward, again, using resources effectively, and are we going house to house and saying, well, what is your status? I mean, that is really important. So, because we have to preserve that housing. If the house is salvageable, we have to salvage it. We don't have additional housing. Right now, if the weather were 20 degrees, there's probably 300 individuals in the city of Barrie that could not be in their home.
Right, they wouldn't be able to live there.
Today they can be in their home. Yeah, it's dirty. They're doing it. But they have electricity. They have refrigeration. They can turn on their stove.
Right.
It's hot. It's humid. But they're dry and they're safe. And they can charge their cell phone and they can do all those things. But if we said tomorrow, okay, now the weather's going to be 20 degrees in a week, what is there? It's not going to function.
Right.
So that's kind of where I'm at. I'm trying to jump.
I mean, it was like
2 or 3 months ahead.
It was like yesterday that we were so much time spent on the air talking about homelessness
Mm-hmm.
and the hotel evictions and
Yeah.
what's coming down for the city of Barrie and that crisis alone. And then all of a sudden, I mean, the timing is just shit for all of this.
Yeah. I'd like to send this hand back. I'd like to be dealt a different hand. But this is the hand we've been dealt. And we have to deal with it. And, again, we're already working on that. How do we keep people, that's the first priority of government.
Right.
Keeping our citizens safe. It doesn't mean making things perfect, but keeping them safe.
When I first met Nicholas Storelli Castro, our city manager, you said to me in his first, I think, week that he was manager, that he was drinking from a fire hose.
Yeah.
Man, is he back at it. I mean, he's got the spigot direct line into his stomach right
No,
now.
I mean,
he's doing a hell of a job.
Listen, I check in with Nicholas often. I check in with Chief Cushman often, with Deputy Chief Alsworth often, with our inspectors, but I don't stand in their way. So I'll tell you, I watch how people manage, and Nicholas understands the talent that he has beneath him, supporting all of us, our city. And rightly, he is not getting in the way. He is letting them make decisions. In other words, if there is a decision that needs to be made in the interest of public safety or helping one of our citizens, make the decision and debrief later. Don't go to Nicholas and say, well, gee, do you want me to unplug this culvert? They know what to do. We have.
Well said.
I am so proud of everyone in the city. Our response hasn't been perfect, but it's been damn good.
Oh, yeah.
So, every day, JD and Raylene, I see us making progress.
And they all lost their facility as well.
Yeah, I mean, I see it. I see everything coming into focus. And, again, and now I'm kind of jumping ahead and saying, okay, 2 months from now, 3 months from now, what do we look like? Can we keep people in their homes? And that's going to be our next challenge because
Michael,
we don't have 100 units of housing that we can move people into.
Michael Booton just texted that yesterday was Nicholas's 1 year anniversary.
It was. Oh,
Yeah.
goodness.
Susan just is texting here. Do we know how many homes have been condemned?
Have been condemned?
Yes.
Condemned is that's an extreme term. There have been homes
it is.
Inhabitable.
Well, there are homes. The majority of the homes that have been condemned have become, the house has shifted on its foundation. That's actually a very small number. Homes that we're looking at and saying we can't save this home.
Yeah.
That right now. That's a very small number. I think more to maybe her point, and if I'm answering the question wrong, please text it in again. There are a lot of homes that are significantly damaged. They need a furnace. They need a they need a panel, an electrical panel replaced. There are a lot of homes that are significantly damaged, but they are salvageable. And that's where we have to sort of jump ahead and say, okay, we restored the panel, we restored the heat. The front porch is gone. They got temporary steps going up to it, but that house is habitable and it's safe and it's good for the winter. Maybe it's ugly on the inside. Maybe there's a lot, the carpets are all ripped out and they haven't been replaced. Well, that's ugly, but it doesn't make a home inhabitable.
Sure.
Right.
So those are the things that we're looking at with housing, and it's going to be critical that we sort of pivot quickly to recovery mode and make sure that homes that can be saved are saved. Homes that can be made habitable in the winter months are made habitable for the winter months. So that's going to be our next challenge. Thankfully, I've reached out. There are some big electrical disconnects. For example, if you're looking for a 400 amp disconnect, which you wouldn't be looking for a home, There's some industrial equipment that is hard to come by. Fortunately, electrical panels, circuit breaker shortage. Furnaces, like I said, I ordered a bunch of furnaces here yesterday. They'll be here in 2 weeks. So thankfully, the equipment that we're going to need to pivot to recovery, we don't see supply chain issues right now. It doesn't mean we won't, but we don't see them right now. So we're, like I said, we're kind of jumping on that. You talk about drinking from a fire hose. You gotta deal with what's in front of you, but you also got to be thinking 2 months down the road.
Priorities, Thom, are constantly, and I mean, like by the hour, maybe even less, constantly shifting for all of us.
Yeah.
For each one of us as individuals. What do we need to do? When are we getting back to work? When are we going to pick up a gallon of milk on the way home? What's going on? Who's going to do this and who's going to do that, and delegating it. My God, I mean, all of us. It's so, we're all stressed out. We're all tapped out, Thom.
Look, we're all here. We're
right.
upright. JD, it's going to cost a lot of money to put my buildings back right and to put this city back right. But we're here. Mm-hmm. We didn't. We had one death in the city.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand how we didn't have more. That water was like nothing I've ever seen. So, so we're here, and I see the people who are helping people muck out, and, that's inspiring. I see businesses that are just grabbing the bull by the horns, and they're going to get it done. All of that is inspiring, and of course our priorities shift. This is a crisis, and I think we're managing our way through it. For example, we've had the elevator technicians on the ground looking at elevators in my buildings, and we need a couple, 3 of them. They have ordered the equipment. That is not a priority for me. I'm going to get it done, and the equipment's ordered, it's paid, that stuff is all done, but I don't consider elevators a priority. There are stairs.
Right. We can
take the damn stairs.
Right.
So if our, as we shift resources around, elevators become very low on the list of priorities because I realize that some folks can't take the stairs. I do understand that, but you have to make decisions that benefit the most number of people possible.
Yeah.
And public safety, keeping our public safe is priority one.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah, so that's what we've done.
Now we're at the point of being grateful for what we have, which is actually a lot. If you still have a home, and even though, like you say, it's a mess, we're at the point where we just need to be grateful for what we have.
Correct. And, so I'm wearing a lot of hats these days, taking care of my own stuff, but most importantly, continuing to throw ideas at the administration, the governor. He is working so hard, as is every member of his team. And, daily we're communicating, will this work? Will that work? How do we get relief to individuals and businesses? How do we maximize the relief? Even the FEMA money that individuals are eligible for, I look at the damage in the north end on some of those homes, and FEMA taps out at about $82,000. It's going to be more,
right?
It's going to be more than that. So this is going to be a long, bumpy road. But I have no doubt there are going to be businesses that there are businesses now that were not affected. Diane at the Meltdown,
yeah,
but her and her family are out helping others.
Right.
She's raising money in the restaurant, donating 10% of the tab.
And they still were on a boil water notice. They were having to truck water, buy ice. They still took losses.
She opened, when she talked about it, she was telling me she felt a little guilty being open. And I'm like, are you kidding me? I'm like,
the rest of
I'm
us
like,
love
our
that you're there.
volunteers need food.
Yeah, the rest of us love that you're there.
Well, so I'm like, Diane, please. And so she did, and they're feeding volunteers and donating food and sending it down to the first responders. And, we're all in this together. It's a bit of a cliche. At least the political bickering has stopped.
Listen, Thom, we have John Schultz with us now. John is the head of the Samaritan's Purse, who has come up from North Carolina. John, thank you so much for being here. Tell us who you are, where you are right now.
Sure. Thank you so much for having me on. So, as you mentioned, my name is John Schultz. I'm the program manager here on site with Samaritan's Purse. I'm part of the U.S. disaster relief arm of Samaritan's Purse, and while Samaritan's Purse is an evangelical Christian organization providing assistance for people all over the world that are going through disasters or famines or various other difficulties here in the U.S., we're helping out right here in Barre and the surrounding communities to help homeowners get back in their homes and have a safe place to live as quickly as possible.
Where are you guys right now, and what are you basically offering folks who stop by? I think you're over at the Granite Museum, right?
Yeah, so we are actually we partner with a local church when we come into an area after disaster. So we are partnered with Faith Community Church, and so they've been a great host for us to open their doors. So we have many volunteers that are staying overnight that have come in from all over the country to assist, staying overnight at Faith Community Church. And we do have our command center set up outside the Granite Museum. So it's a large black semi-tractor trailer, and homeowners that are in need can come to that trailer and fill out a request for assistance from us. And we have folks here to take that from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. every day, or they can call as well. And so the type of work that we're doing is for folks that maybe need to sort through personal belongings that may or may not have survived some of the floodwaters. We can help to get those out of the home and either help to box them up and get them out if it's something that needs to get off-site, or if it's things that are not salvageable, we'll help them get them out into the curb. We're also doing general flood clean out or muck out, a lot of times it's called. So whether that's getting physical mud out of the home, the basements, first floors, removing sheetrock and insulation, flooring, and damaged building materials. And then we have a mold treatment spray that we spray down on all of those surfaces to kill the mold that might be growing and to prevent that from growing back in the future, and give homeowners an opportunity to get those repairs done, in the future without having any mold growth.
And no charge for any of this.
No, of course not. Yeah, everything that we do is completely free of charge. We're here because we want to make sure that folks know that God loves them, and so Christ died for us and gave us a free choice to have eternal life with Him, and we want to make sure that everything that we do is completely free as well for anybody that is in need.
Well, we
do have capabilities as well if need be. To put a tarp on a roof or to cut trees that have been damaged by the floodwaters or get debris out of the yard or stuff like that. And although we haven't seen a whole lot of need yet for that, that is a capability if that's out there.
Wow. What do you think, Thom?
It's all good stuff. We need the help, and thank you very much.
We thank you so much, John, for everything that you're doing. We've been in touch very closely with Dan Moland and Josh Fortier over at Enough Ministries and all they're doing. They're trying to push out 1,000 meals a day, and they just praise you guys for everything you're doing, and our community will never be able to thank you enough from coming up here from, North Carolina, right?
Yeah, so our home office is in North Carolina. Dad, we're spread out all over the world. And I do have a couple phone numbers that I can leave as well for folks. For homeowners that are in need, they can call 802-798-4668. And that's our homeowner assistance hotline. But we also need volunteers as well. And so, we have just a few staff members here with Samaritan's Purse, and everybody else is a volunteer. We've had a lot of great support from the local community and the churches coming out and volunteering. But if you have a little bit of time, either a half a day or a full day to come out and join us, just meet at Faith Community Church either at 7:30 a.m. or 12:30 p.m., and we'll link you up with one of our work teams to go out and assist homeowners in need all over the community. One
more time with that phone number, John.
Sure. So the phone number is 802-798-4668. And we are assisting homeowners in Montpelier and Waterbury and some of the other surrounding communities around Barre as well. So if you're in need anywhere in kind of the surrounding area, of Barry or Montpelier, feel free to give us a call, and we'll have ladies here on the phones to help talk through that with you.
Thank you, John. I'll be over to meet you today and shake your hand and thank you in person, but thanks for hopping on the air with us.
Thank you so much for the call. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Wow, Tom.
Wow.
Know, isn't it amazing? And that's one of several. The folks from the Billy Graham Foundation are camped out, parked out in the Soup and Greens parking lot. Yesterday, I had a chance to get over and meet a team of like a dozen chaplains over there that are helping out and offering so much, not just prayer and fellowship, but also real resources, real tangible stuff that people can get help with, which is just amazing to have these. It's surreal to have these organizations right here in the Granite City.
Yeah, we couldn't do it without them. Mm-mm. It is going to take an army. We're 9 days into this thing.
Yep.
9 days.
Really?
9 days, and amazed by the progress. We've made a lot of progress, but we got a long way to go. I'm not going to sugarcoat anything for folks. This is going to be a long, tough recovery. It's going to be hard, but I'm 9 days into it. A week ago, 2 or 3 days into it, I was just looking at things and saying, how the hell do we recover from this?
Mm-hmm. Right.
It was worse than 11. It was worse than 15.
I was going to ask you.
It's
this
worse.
Is definitely. I mean, in my opinion, this is like way
worse.
This
is
than
1927.
Yeah.
Basically.
This is 27, of course.
I mean, it's that. If you look at the pictures in 27,
so Tom,
it's that bad.
We're talking about. We're talking about 2 once in a century floods that have happened within a decade.
Yeah. Well, I'm not. That's not going to help me right now. I don't want to talk about that.
Right.
There'll be a time to talk about how do you become more resilient? How do you prevent? We did some of these things back in 2011 and 15. The trash racks on Brook Street worked.
Yes,
they did what they.
Did you see?
But here's the issue with government, JD. We have limited resources.
Yeah.
Now, if we wanted to do mitigation efforts, government has limited resources. We all do. So if we want to, I'm just not talking about mitigation efforts now. I'm talking. I am focused
Recovery
like a laser
only.
on recovery. Period.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about dredging the river because we're not dredging the river. Okay. No, there'll be a time. I don't mean to. I get a little short. Because, I want to stay focused on what we need to stay focused on. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to play the blame game. I don't see the value in that right now. I want to help people recover. And then we will I promise you, in 6 months, we will have a conversation about how we make the city more resilient. Mm-hmm. Some of the things we did during my administration worked. Some of the emergency response procedures that we put in place worked. Some of the mitigation efforts worked. Absolutely, we didn't do enough. We didn't have the money to do enough.
Sure.
So there'll be a time.
I think
that time just isn't now.
I think our infrastructure, and I've said this a few times on the air, is that much stronger post Irene to be able to handle this. I think if this was the flood that we had in exchange of Irene, I think we would have been really screwed.
Yeah, we would. The volume of water was incredible.
Crazy.
So I don't know.
Tom, I remember. And I've said this to Raylene, God, I don't know how many times. I just remember the May flood before Irene, that you were just right up at the studio, just in my face,
Let
saying,
me in.
saying, I want to get on the air. Right? You remember that
Well,
May flood before Irene.
it was a different world back then. Didn't have a lot of, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter.
Sure.
That wasn't as prevalent. Mm-hmm. So that was how we were getting information to people, And, that was critical, back in those days because we didn't have the access to information that we have now. In some respects, Social media is, I would say, like people say, it's a blessing and a curse. It's absolutely more of a blessing to be able to get, like this podcast, be able to talk about things, get information out there. That's absolutely a blessing. You know, once in a while you get people who post information that's just wrong, and that's not helpful.
Sure.
But overall, you know, guys, we're doing okay. We're doing okay. We have a long way to go.
We just need to stick together and
exactly
check on each other.
We're
and
all
rely on each other, and
we're all in this together. And again, JD, yeah, we need to prioritize. You know, we 6 months from now, I'd be happy to talk about climate change. I'd be happy to talk, you know, flood mitigation efforts. But no, not today. I don't want to.
Thank you for saying
You know,
that.
6 months from now, we'll talk about parts of my response that sucked. We'll talk about parts of the city's response that weren't quite up to par. But I'm not going to do that now. Because overall, as I look at all of it, outstanding.
Well,
That's
are many.
my description.
There are many,
Perfect?
many
No,
people.
outstanding.
Even there are even people commenting, and many people that are so happy to see that you are here and you have boots on the ground because they know that you're going to steer the ship in the direction that we need it to go in. You're going
Well,
to kind of
We're all pulling in the
Yeah.
same direction, but I'm going to do what I can, and just the institutional knowledge and the access that I still have to the administration, just through years of good relationships and supporting them, and even working with them,
Sure.
on the governor's economic recovery and mitigation task force. Just the work that I've done even during the pandemic, as a counselor and as a private citizen. Look, if I can help in any way, if I can offer ideas, go
And
help
knowing
somebody
and-
much out
well,
a basement.
yeah,
if I
knowing
got
and
15
understanding
minutes.
the process is huge, and you do because you do deal in construction and
So
stuff.
it's not
and-
about ego. It's not about showing anyone up. It's just about, if that's how I roll, guys. If I see something that needs to be done, if I see an area where I can help and advocate for my city, for our city, that is what I'm going to do every
So-
single time.
So let's say this
Yeah.
with what you just said. That's perfect opportunity for Raylene and I to say this. Yesterday, each of us we're both going in different directions. Have had a chance to walk up and down our main street.
Yeah.
And we've had a chance to chat with business owners like Nelson's, who's one of our sponsors, but also businesses that are not sponsors of Aired Out.
But it hasn't mattered. It doesn't matter.
It absolutely does not matter who we have a sponsor of and who we don't. We went into Beauvair's yesterday and chatted with Carl and Megan. I don't care who it is. If they need some help promoting their business, their menu,
They need help.
their product,
Whatever.
If they need help, I don't care who it is. I mean, I spoke with.
Look, I look forward to the day when we can get back to shitting on each other. Okay, but today is not that day.
Right.
And anyone, just damn it,
It's-
stand together. I'm proud of all of you. I choke up when I think. I am
too.
so proud of this city and everyone in it and how they're responding. And maybe it makes the political, just the stupid stuff. I hope this puts all of this into perspective, that we are not here to take jabs at each other. There are people on the North End who are seriously, seriously in trouble.
Yeah.
$81,000 is not going to fix their problem. They may not have heat this winter. They're living on a fixed income. They're living on Social Security. They get a property tax rebate, so their property taxes are $500 a year. How are they going to get a mortgage? Where are they going to go? There are no apartments.
Right.
JD, I don't want to talk about climate change. It doesn't mean I don't believe in it. I'm going to talk about the things that matter. Governing is about prioritizing, and that is what we need to do. And we don't have time for divisiveness. You know, anyone who has a good idea, I will thank them and give them credit for it.
Sure.
You know, and that's the way we need to roll going forward. We have people depending on us.
Right.
Okay, it's not about ego. It's not about one-upping anybody.
Sure.
You know, we have people. This isn't a joke. I have people on the entire council. We have people on the north end on us
Sure.
for their survival. It is that simple.
Sure.
Yeah.
So
it is that simple.
We can't let them down. And I apologize. I got to cut this short because Karen just sent me a text and I got somebody to meet. Speaking of mitigation.
Thom,
But you know what? It's getting better. I think we'd all have to agree it's getting better. It's not going to be fixed in a month. It's not going to be fixed in 3. But it's getting better. And I just want people to know I am proud to be a Parisian.
Listen, if you get a chance,
Yeah.
and I know you're crazy and you're running around, but if you get a chance, at least play the audio only of last night's Barry Beat with Michael Booten and Raylene right here. It's outstanding.
Absolutely. I like
outstanding.
this little Thank you for opening your home.
Well, it's
Raylene.
not free, Thom.
Yeah.
I mean, she's charging us. I mean,
I am not.
it's $1,100 a month, Thom.
$1,100
Yeah.
a
You know,
month.
so I mean,
Thank you for doing this.
Absolutely.
You know, it's important, and we joke around a little bit. It's important to keep a sense of humor.
It is.
You know, it is.
Absolutely.
I mean, there's nothing funny about the devastation, but we've got to have
keep a
a
sense of
reason
humor.
to smile.
we do it we goof around all the
Yeah.
time. Maybe
we
too
have to.
much.
We've got to have a reason to smile, and
Yeah.
I promise people that things will be very different. Give us a year; it's going to take that long.
When's the next city council meeting?
25th.
Next Tuesday,
Okay.
and I have let the council know I don't want to talk about. I want to focus like a laser on recovery. I don't want to talk about anything else. I don't want to talk about new ordinances. I don't want to talk about I want to talk about recovery.
Yes.
And that is, well, I think they all feel the same way,
Right.
JD. I mean,
Yeah.
that was just my message 2 weeks ago, or last week, our last meeting, is that, you know, this is what we need to be doing going forward. So that's where my focus is. Every time I get the opportunity to speak with Secretary Curley or the governor, it's advocating for Barrie, and not at the expense of other communities, but, you know, this is where I live, this is where I serve, this is my home, and that's what I'm going to do. So I really got to go.
All right,
Sorry,
so-
All right.
guys.
Thank you.
We'll stay
so
in touch,
much.
though.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Have a good day, everybody.
Yeah.
Love you.
Thanks, Thom. And he's I think he's got a little bit of dried mud on the blue jeans too. So anyway, thanks, Thom, for coming in this morning. Do you want to grab his? Yeah, grab his.
Dump this one before I put it down.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, grab his mic. Thanks everyone for tuning in this morning. We, for those of you that are wondering where we are in Raylene's basement. Today, I think most of our podcast episodes have been here, with the exception of one or two. I woke up this morning. I couldn't even remember what day it was. When were we at Enough Ministries? Was that yesterday or the day before?
No.
I can't remember.
Monday.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's Wednesday.
All right. Thunder Road is still on for Thursday night.
Good.
First
Good.
first responder appreciation night. And my God, is there like a perfect time to have that or what?
You're not kidding.
Wow.
You're not kidding.
We're going to read some of the comments here in just a minute, but you know, Dave Moody and I have been talking for about a year now about July 20th, and that I'd have him in my studio, and he was so excited, and I was excited.
Well, you can have him here.
I'm not sure where I'll be honest with you. I'm not sure where we're going to be. It might be here.
Well, isn't the 20th tomorrow?
Yeah, right. It is tomorrow. It might be here, and it might be up at the Comfort Inn. I don't know, but
Have to get all that figured
we'll
out.
get it figured out because I want to get Dave on the air, and he's not going to be able to see my beautiful studio on North Main Street, but that's all right.
Well,
That's all
he'll
right.
be back.
All right. I want to read some of the comments here, and of course, we're going to talk about what's going on with the Heritage Festival. But first of all, kudos to Mr. Booten for setting up a lot of stuff in here. He is ever so slightly technologically advantaged over me. If he's a 10, I'm a 9. Okay? Just saying. But
How about 10 and 3?
where's my bell?
I don't know. Do you know where your bell is?
I don't know where my bell is.
You messed with the desk yesterday. You must have taken your bell
But
and your
here's-
whistle and
But here's Booten coming in here. He wants to come in here and start taking walls down and running Ethernet around the neighborhood and everything.
he really did go right to town last night.
He did.
So I finished. He and I left here to run to the studio to look for something. And then he went home. I came back home, hooked up all the microphones, and did the test on the cameras one more time and a sound check one more time. So I got in. I finished for the day at 12:07. Yeah,
I think that was.
it was a long ass day.
I think I went to bed around 12:30 last night.
Yeah. But
I'm
and
tr-
when we're done today, Rosemary and I are going to go down and help at Nelson's for a while.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah, we're going to go down there and help for a little bit. I can't stay super late today because I have an appointment this afternoon. But, I'm still doing the whole eye thing on Thursdays. So,
And you just
and
can't-
I skipped last Thursday, so actually I had to do. This will be my second time this week because when you can't.
So you're going down to Nelson's with Alice?
No, with Rosemary.
Oh, with Rosemary.
Yes.
Okay.
So her and I are going to go down to Nelson's for a little while and
So I was
help out.
over at Nelson's yesterday, and to see what they've organized on the back Metroway side. Don't use the front door; it's closed, by the way, for Nelson's. But that back, they've got the volunteers that are pulling stuff out of the basement, cleaning it off, and getting it situated, organized, dried, cleaned, and back on shelves is just amazing. And the restaurants that I know, Mulligan's is one of them that has been providing food for all of these volunteers and the staff at Nelson's. I don't know what the hell we would do without him. I mean, Bob,
I don't know either.
Bob and Annette and Kelly and everyone else over there, Clay, the whole team.
Well, it's crucial, I think, for us as a community to have them open back up fully, and they need help to be able to do that.
Yeah.
But we all rely on him for so many things. When you think about, don't think about right now. Think about when a house catches fire in the middle of the night. Who's coming down to unlock the building so that we can get tarps and make sure that the family's belongings are covered, or he does those sorts of things.
Sure.
And because Nelson's and the whole crew there is such, I mean, they are the go-to, and I consider them the backbone of Main Street. And so it's just really important that we give them that, because they're always here for us.
Yeah.
And so even if you only can spare an hour, literally,
Sure.
that's a huge store with a lot of stuff. And an hour makes a huge difference.
Yeah. And if enough people do it, it's incredible. I mean, I just last night I went back late last night, went back and rewatched the live that I shot on Friday afternoon. Wasn't Friday, it was Monday. I'm sorry, Monday, the 10th, the day of the flood, at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. It was exactly 4 o'clock, and I was just leaving the studio to head home. And this was literally a half an hour before the floodwaters hit. And I went across the street to Bob, and I said, y'all good over here? Yeah, we're good. We got a couple of sump pumps if folks need them, but we're doing all right. Our basement's a little damp, but other than that, we're all right. And I said, okay, we'll see you later. If you need anything, call me. Got in the car, and I don't know. It's scary how fast. I mean, it was 5 minutes later, our city was underwater, and everyone's basement was screwed. Everyone. And it's just surreal to me. I can still hear you calling me and the sound of your voice and how scared you sounded, screaming at me that you were in the studio and you're ripping our equipment out of there as fast as you could, but you weren't sure if you could get everything. And I don't know, man. It's I think we're all traumatized.
Very much
in some way or
very
another.
much so. Rise Up Bakery says Larissa, and help me, Jim and Larissa. That's right. I don't know why his name just went out the other side of my head, but it did. Say thank you so much for all you did and are doing to keep informing and help the community in this unbelievable mess. May I use this opportunity of your wide audience to ask for any help to move our dough mixer from service to the bakery. Need just 2 muscular guys for 1 hour maximum. We have a loading ramp, and service has a crank lift. It's just an awkward shape, and it's 500 pounds of equipment. Wow. We tried yesterday without any luck. So hoping that some others may hear today and be willing to stop down and help Jim and Larissa. Which I hope that somebody does, because I need them to bake me some of that focaccia. Is that how you say it? Focaccia
Bread.
The one with the tomatoes and the black olives.
Oh, I
and
know.
the garlic and the rosemary and the.
Love it.
I haven't had it in a really long time. I tried. It's been months.
Yeah.
With moving and everything that has happened. I just have not gone there. But I've actually been craving it like crazy.
Well, listen, we're going to say this again this morning.
So we need a couple guys, real strong guys, to go help Jim and Larissa at Rise Up Bakery, which is right behind the old Labor Hall. It's in pretty much the same parking lot as Pepin Granite.
Look at this. Look at the power. This is so awesome to me. Mm-hmm. The power of these microphones and what we're doing, connecting to our community. We already have Michael Deering saying, let me reach out to the football team.
That would be wonderful, Michael. Thank you so much.
It's just incredible. I mean, maybe there's some Ravens, maybe folks that are connected to the Vermont Ravens. Not that that only people that play football are strong. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
You know, this is wonderful stuff. I'm going to put the we had John Schultz from Good Samaritan. From Samaritan's Purse on the air with us a short time ago. He gave a phone number. I'm going to post it up here in just a second. It is posted up. I already did it while you were talking. And we have I'm going to post it again, Raylene.
And it's in my resource list that I keep posting on a daily basis. And so is the picture of their truck and everything that they offer.
All right.
All of that's on our page.
Listen,
Dumbass.
We're going to say this again, okay? I don't care. I don't care who you are. I don't care what your business is. And I don't care whether you're a sponsor of the Aired Out podcast or not. Mm-hmm. If you need something, if you need help, if you need promotion, if you need some some advertising, some love.
We got to hold everybody up. Each other. We
have to do
we
this.
Have to.
And we're
be there
going
for
to.
each
I mean,
other.
to see the look in Justin and Melissa's eyes from the Corey restaurant, to see the look in their eyes when I saw them in Nelson's Hardware yesterday. I offered to help them. Same thing with Beauvair's.
Mm-hmm.
And I say that to the Next Chapter bookstore. I say that to
Rise Up.
I say it to any business on North Main Street that needs help. We will promote you. We will push your menu. We'll push your hours. We'll push the fact that you need some help. You need some volunteer help. We will push that you got great product and you're open for business. We will help you. Whether you are a sponsor or not, we're going to take care of you because we owe that to our community. And by God, Raylene, that's what we do. Period. So
Yeah.
I'm good. I'm saying it again, and I will say it again. Go to Beauvair's today. Walk in there.
And if you have orders,
buy something.
Yeah, or if you have orders, they would be so grateful if you just picked up your finished work. They're trying to move everything out of the way so that they can clean. And once they start cleaning and things start getting moved around, you have to then start worrying about mold.
Yeah.
And so,
support these businesses.
Yeah, let's not make them have to move your stuff, try to find a place to put your stuff. If you have if they've finished the work and they've called you and said your work is done, please try to go pick it up. And if you can't because of other reasons, maybe you have no spot right now, just give them a call and at least communicate and let them know that they're trying so hard.
Yeah. I feel on a personal level of so many people that I want to thank, from Michael Schumacher and Dan Mullen, Josh Vordier, all over at Enough Ministries, to Travis Payette, who I don't know what I would have done without him. I mean,
good dude right there.
He's such a great guy. He showed up. And Chuck Martin showed up too. It took him like a half an hour to get from Tractor Supply to the studio. I mean, he was just getting detoured around, but he finally showed up and with love in his heart to try to help me disassemble our desk. And then Payette, man.
Which is no easy task. The desk, that whole thing is, that thing is huge. It's you cannot take it out of the building in one piece. It's that was a task, and thank you a ton for them. And then we got to thank Darren Bean and the team at Team Rubicon for they are out, boots on the ground. They've started checking them off. On my list, they've got a new round of people from me this morning. If you know somebody that is needing of help, tree work, tarping, muck outs, light construction, they do not pump basements, but they pretty much do everything else. Get in touch, let me know. And then I know that there are a lot of people, I've had 4 or 5 people reach out to me that are having trouble fill out the FEMA paperwork. So if you are in need of help with that, get in touch and I will get you the services that you need to help with that. And then everyone mustn't forget that today is Ladies' Day.
Ding, ding.
At Vermont Quick Lube and Car Wash of Southbury. And
love them.
Craig and the boys are over there waiting. You go in, service, and they're going to give you a flower as a thank you for everything you do, and then a car wash. And we all need a freaking car wash right now. I had to take mine through twice. That's how much mud was on it. It was horrible. So
I want to thank this young guy who I've never met before. I do not know him. His name is Caden Luster.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know him?
Nope, but I've seen him posting.
He showed up yesterday at the studio saying, "How can I help?" And I said, "Well, I got a friend on the way with his truck to help me get my desk out of here." And he's like, "Well, I'll take it out for you." He had an entire pickup truck full of tools, big tools, heavy tools, huge stuff. And he's like, just give me like a half an hour. I'll unload my whole truck and then I'll be back. And I'm like, it's just stuff like
it's
that,
amazing
man.
the people that are out there and willing to help. And
We're so lucky to live in a community.
We truly are, because
that's
it's not
like
the way
this.
it is in every community.
No.
So yesterday, I had gotten a donation from one of my neighbors for some things, toothbrush, toothpaste, deodorants, things like that.
Yeah, tell me about that.
I was busy. Rosemary went and did all the shopping, got all of that stuff, a huge bag full of stuff.
Rosemary kicks ass.
She does kick ass. That stuff got delivered yesterday, and then I picked up the people. I also brought clothing to the Methodist Church, which, by the way, they do not need any more clothing and cannot take any more clothing at the Methodist Church at the moment. They do have some needs, and I posted those needs on the page this morning. Just make a note of that. No more clothes. But I delivered those, and they said, "Do you know anybody who could use these buckets?" Lowe's had dropped off these 5-gallon buckets full of cleaning supplies, and I mean,
The blue
clothesline.
buckets.
Yeah, and they're not all blue, but clotheslines, clothespins, laundry soap, cleaning, soap, sponges, rags, even bug spray, heavy rubber gloves, leather gloves, you name it. It's in that bucket. It's amazing. And so I filled up my car 3 times and delivered buckets. I brought a bunch over to Williamstown. Yep. Dropped them off at the pub. Yep. Dropped them off at the pub so that Lindsay and could give them out there at the pub to the people in Williamstown that needed,
I didn't know you did that.
Well, you most of the time don't know half of what I'm doing.
You don't know what half of what I'm doing.
It's because you have little legs and you'd have to, you just can't keep up. Sometimes that's all.
Whatever.
I know what you were doing yesterday, but yeah, I mean, it's